Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with Green White Maverick with Saga, which is pretty cool. I just did a deck tech for YouTube, which you'll be able to find on my YouTube channel. So I won't go into too much depth, but I wanted to come back to Maverick and see how it is performing. So I thought I'd start from the basics of just Green White. There are some kind of meta calls here, like the Sagas, like Haven Mind Sensor, like Reclaimer over Fourth Knight. And then cards like Paradox Zone, I've really wanted to try out for a while. So hopefully play against some grindy decks where we can get Paradox Zone into play. Also playing 3 Medic Endurance, which is pretty big. But I really like the card. I think it's pretty great against a lot of matchups. And gives us some nice outs to some of the combo decks running around at the moment, like Reanimator and Doomsday. So, without further ado, let's just get into a league and see how this performs. But it's a tough one because, do we have ticks? 30. I don't think these can give you ticks, but we'll quickly open these. Cool. Maybe we can get 5. 5. This is gonna be a slow one. Hey, Cloverdad. 5. I don't want to open all of these. No. Oh, no. There we go. 5. If I can just use these last 2 to get there. Maybe not. Are these all 5s? Yikes. Get an Overgrown Tomb, which is kind of cool. Wow, did they change something? Can you only get 5? This is a terrible EV, but there we go. There's 20. Come on, 10. Yes. Nice. All right. Playing Green White Maverick. Nice. Hey, Vic. Welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. I did change that chat. That's really annoying. Width. That should work. There we go. Nice. The tough thing about Green White right now with Maverick is that there's not too many answers to why not just play Green White depths. And I think the biggest thing is because you want to play a creature-based deck. Play some Maverick. This hand is okay. A lot of mana, but we also have Retrofit of Foundry to start sinking things into, so I don't mind this hand. A little bit soft to like a combo deck, but can go for basics early on, which is nice. Oof, okay, probably looking at Dredge here. Best draw, probably just Endurance to pitch to the Noble. Now it's an interesting one. So I do have Wasteland on Colosseum as a play. I could also build up my mana in Noble Hierarch. Retrofit of Foundry is also interesting because it can get rid of Bridge from Below, I believe, because when you sacrifice the Servo, I don't believe it matters if our card is non-token, because I believe like Flicker Wisp on Batterskull used to do it. Let's have a quick look. Bridge from Below. Whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield of Bridge from Below, in your graveyard creature. Whenever a creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battlefield of Bridge is, yeah. The big thing here is that Wasteland Pass doesn't really accomplish anything because they're going to be dredging next turn. So perhaps the best play is just to build out my own field with turn 1 Noble. But it's a tough one. I mean, there's also Hold Up Sword. Doesn't do a whole lot. Why am I wastelanding? I'm wastelanding because of Breakthrough, I guess. Another Careful Study, perhaps. This also gives away the least amount of information, I guess. Could try to, like, maybe get a bad Dredge here. They hit a Narcomoeba. Okay. They have another land. And they have a looting. Okay. So they get to dredge a fair bit here. There's another Narcomoeba. They're playing Hogak, which is interesting. There's Dread Return. Cabal Therapies already. This is a world where I might just concede here to not give away what we're on. Let's make sure they're targeting me, yeah. But at least we know what they're on. So Dredge. Dredge is going to be interesting. I do like the Soul Guide. That's kind of about it. I don't mind the extra part 2 exiles. Looking at Dredge, we can take out the Mind Sensors. We can probably take out the Liberator, but just in case they run something like... there's an enchantment that is, I believe, 1 mana, and it means that we can't target stuff in their graveyard. Oof is still okay on the play. Shadow Spear is still fine, just to really get across like a big knight. Mirari's Wake Control. Interesting. I believe that's like the green-white 5 mana enchantment. Beast is still nice, they're just really pressuring. Yeah, it could be worth cutting a land. Seeing Karakas, we saw Hogak. Saga's still nice because of Soul Guide Lantern. It could potentially just be a Wasteland here. The fetches are still nice because they get Dried Arbor, which might be able to like block a zombie and then hit some bridges. I don't think Deafening Silence is worth it against Dredge. But that's a good question. We have a minute. We have a lot of time. Legacy, view more, and then Dredge. I mean, it does stop the LED lines, like LED into like a Cabal or looting. But I don't think it's good enough. I think everything here is pretty good. Script Ranger blocks Narcomoeba, which is fantastic. I think we'll just see how this performs. Oh, this is also 61. Did I submit a 61 card deck? No. Interesting. This is turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Thalia and Reclaimer. Or turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Green Suns for Oof or Scavenging Ooze. I think this is an okay hand. It doesn't have interaction in like Endurance, but I'm not going to mulligan away a pretty solid hand for that. So I'm going to keep this. And I'm just going to go for a Savannah because we don't have to worry about Wasteland in this matchup. Hey Jide, welcome. Hope you're well. Alright, opponent goes to 6 cards. Savannah, Noble. So we were talking about Bojuka Bog as a sideboard card, which in this hand would be pretty nice. But unfortunately we are playing the Soul Guide instead. Confluence LED. Breakthrough. 3 red, no looting just yet. They hit a looting. And they hit double Cabal Therapy. Oof. Have they hit a bridge yet? They haven't hit a bridge. But now they get to looting. And they hit 1 bridge. see what they name. Name's Rest in Peace. Okay. They'd probably take the Swords to Plowshares here. I could see them taking the Thalia though. Swords. At least we get to double spell next turn. Oh, they get to cast the Hogak as well? Wow, I forgot about that. It's a pretty good turn one. Foundry, okay. I think we're just going for Reclaimer into Thalia because at least the Reclaimer over 2 turns can find Karakas, which isn't the greatest, but don't have a whole lot to do otherwise. Oh, Icarids as well. Yeah, this is bad. This might just be a case of not mulliganing to the Endurances. Yeah, I don't think we have an out other than maybe, yeah, no. I think it was like drawing Karakas, but yeah, tough. Yeah, I also suggest moving to next game. The breakout hands from Dredge can just be so strong that maybe just keeping a fair hand isn't good enough. Maybe it's one of the decks where you have to mulligan to, you know, 5 just to find a hand that has some sort of interaction because that'll allow you to recoup some of the losses. Like, there's no point keeping a 7 if it does nothing. I'd rather keep a 5 that actually does something. Ooh. Definitely not the start we wanted. Could also mulligan to lands. Blackfire's of the Rack is interesting, but I don't think we have enough like hand disruption or ways to really pressure with those cards. And it's tough to play those over other artifacts in the deck already. Alright, up against Heat Hat UK. Hey B1. Woof, okay. Perhaps a lands deck that runs like Endurance. Definitely not keeping just a Cradle hand. We will mulligan this. Again, just not a green source, which is pretty rough. We do have some plays in like turn 1 Mum Wasteland, but that's not great. Alright. I guess we bottom Cradle Avon. Maybe Cradle Oof. Yeah. I definitely haven't given up on the green white black version, but I just wanted to go back to the kind of basics of the deck and start with green white and then move up. The question is, can I think I kind of have to go for a Savannah here. But Forest Pass is definitely interesting. Mox, Maze. Oof. I don't want to attack into a Punishing Fire either. They must have drawn the Karakas because they didn't have a land last turn. That's pretty good. Okay. Now we got some business. They hit another Valakut Exploration. That's pretty good. No exploration yet, which is great for us. Well, I said it too soon. Yep. Pretty happy just to hold up Script Ranger here. And we can attack because we have Script Ranger up as well. Crucible's going to be okay. And I say okay, but let's be honest, this is pretty tough. They hit the loam. Yikes. But getting out of this is really tough, especially with double Valakut Exploration, Loam and Exploration and Crucible. I think it's just too far, unfortunately. I don't think we have an out going to 5. But we do have some good cards. We have Force of Vigor. I don't mind Soul Guide. That's probably it. I don't want to be on the path plan. Deafening Silence doesn't do enough. Mindbreak Trap is not a go. Choke is not a go. Zone's just a little bit too far out. I like dropping on the Thalias, especially seeing Caracas. Oof is fine. This might just be it. Like, this is still a fine start. Yeah, Zone's not the worst at just closing out the game. But if they're on the port plan, that's where Zone can really just kind of rot in your hand. Definitely a tough one. 2 graveyard-based decks where maybe some more graveyard interaction in the sideboard is worth it, instead of just the Soul Guide and then relying on the 3 Endurances and the Skoos in the main deck. I was thinking about Surgical, just because of Reanimator as well, but I did decline it. Yeah, Path over Plow could be a consideration as well. Guess like Path Own Creature isn't too bad. Beast is really nice against Mazavith. This is the kind of matchup where I really want Outland to flip. Okay. Nice. This does mean we can play a turn 2 3/3 Knight if both of these survive. Okay. Pretty happy to go for basics here. There's also a world where I should have played the Outland Liberator there. Hopefully this is okay. I think I will take out the exploration instead of playing the knight. Knight's just so good though. Such a good clock. We also might not have access to 3 mana next turn. I think getting knight in play is better. Just really put a clock on the board. Probably double green for endurance is better. Now I can just attack with everything. They can't hold up like crop into dark depths here, which is nice. I guess if they have like double crop, they could crop into... No. Yeah, I guess no. Could they crop into Yavimaya first? No. Put them down to 5. And then there's a world where I just keep up Outland Liberator. Because then Outland and Elvish Acclaimer is 5. So then we have like multiple ways to win. They could just crop for like a Mazavith here. Or Pachuca Bog. Probably Bog. Depths. Okay. Interesting. Why did they go for that there? Probably should have held up Path as well, just in case they have like Fling. This doesn't work either because we can like Caracas and then attack. There's multiple things here, which I think I will just do. Because they're on 5, we don't have to show that we have Path in hand. Yeah. Hey, Death and Cat Mix, welcome! I hope you're doing well. I think we're just running this back. Interesting. I think Bog there would have gained them a lot of time. And like Bog, untap. Maybe draw like Valakut Exploration. Maybe they're not so used to the matchup between Maverick and didn't know we had Caracas. Maybe they're just playing around Wasteland. Hey McSalmon, welcome. I'm here looking for lines to adapt into Modern. Yeah, I really like your Modern deck. I should play some Modern. I should play some Modern on stream. I hear that Modern is actually quite good right now. I'm pretty happy with this hand. Am I? The Knight currently is a 2/2 on turn 3. We don't have the second green for Endurance. We do have Retrofit Foundry to start like getting some things going, but if they have like a Tabernacle start, then the Retrofit is actually a bit of a liability. We haven't seen like Elvish Reclaimer yet, so maybe Swords is a little bit irrelevant until Dark Depths. I don't think this hand is good enough. I'd rather have like a Noble Hierarch start. We also have Force of Vigor. This is pretty good. We get to put away the Questing Beast, And then we have turn 1 Lantern, hold up Force. There's actually a world where I want to keep the Questing Beast for the Force of Vigor and then put back the Ooze as a Green Sun's target. I don't mind that. Because I already have the Soul Guide for graveyard stuff, excuse me, I'm going to keep this and bottom the Scoos. Hope it's like a Mox Diamond exploration start. Okay. Please play library, yeah. Forest is nice because it means you can get a basic with this. So I think we just go Forest Pass, and then probably don't care about the Sphere here. I could take them off Mox and Sphere, which also takes them off green currently. Yeah. Yeah, the Spheres are definitely interesting. I think I will take them off the Mox just because of how, you know, they've already got the Avamai in the bin. There is a world where this just takes them off too much. Okay, they have one card left. I'm pretty happy to run out the Sylvan Library. I could also consider running out the Soul Guide to play around like I guess next turn a Loam isn't that bad because it's only a Yavimaya they're getting back. So I might as well just play out the library here. The earlier the library, the better as well. Well, I found Dark Depths. That's definitely not nothing. Hey Vegeta, welcome. I hope you're well. Hope you had a nice Xmas too. They're not going to make it, wow. Oh, perfect. Perfect. I actually am going to pay here. Am I? Maybe not. I think I'll put the extra mum on top. Play the Canopy. I guess we can get double mum on board. And going down to 11 isn't that bad either. So let's go with... Mum, then Soul Guide, hold up Path. Yeah. Exile their land. Hey, back. Going pretty well, thanks. Been a little bit off recently, just with energy, but getting back into it, which is nice. I think I just caught a bug. But thanks for asking. I probably just want to do this in draw step. I don't think they're going to be like a crop rotation for stage kind of deck. For step, sorry. Caught an MTGO bug, exactly. So I could wait here for draw step to see if they draw like a basic, but I'm just going to path here. Just to play around any sort of shenanigans. I'm also not going to 6 because I want to be able to Soul Guide in response to a Loam. The nice thing about that is, as well, is that if they go like Wasteland Ass Loam, we get to Soul Guide their graveyard. And then maybe hit Loam. Nothing. Okay. Endurance is pretty nice. And a land. Now what do I want to keep? I don't want to go down to Punishing Fire range, so I'm going to put back the Plains. Could potentially Green Suns for Liberator. I don't mind that. So I think we'll just go... Put on top, pay. And I'm just going to hold up the endurance here. I could potentially Green Suns for Outlander, which I am going to do. I think having interaction with this exploration is where I want to be. And Outland Liberator is exactly what I want against this deck. No attacks because I don't want to lose this to like land Punishing Fire. Wasteland's okay. That's fine. Shadow Spear is okay. Interesting, so that probably tells me they're playing Saga. So they just didn't want this Liberator to flip, which is interesting. Put on top. I do like Saga here. So I get to attack for 2. And then play second Mum. Also hold up this to like draw a card if I really wanted to. I really want to get the value off this. There's Loam. Okay. So here we can exile their grave. They now have the Loam. But then we have Endurance. And hopefully a green source on top. If not, we have the Noble Hierarch, which isn't too bad. Honestly, I'm pretty happy just to exile this now to get rid of it. Take them off their engine. And now because they're only drawing 1 card a turn, we can attack with both Mums. Create a Saga. It's all kind of coming up Millhouse, which is nice. Ghost Court is fine. And no spell. Yeah, that's true. I could have upkeeped. I didn't even think about flipping my own Liberator. That's really nice. Maybe they're getting Tabernacle here. Off crop. Ah, they could have Dredged in response. Yeah, okay, that's very true. So if we did keep the Endurance for upkeep, they'd have open mana to get rid of the Loam. Hey, Spyman. Doing pretty well, thanks. How are you going? What are your plans for the next few days? I think if they tab, we just get rid of the Construct and keep these 3. And they're just going to concede. Interesting. Well, nice to be back on the board. Whew. Got some new earphones as well, which is pretty nice. Got the Sony... should have known this before I got them. Where you at? Sony WF-1000 XM4s. Just pretty nice. Little wireless earphones. Always wanted them. I was going to get the AirPod Pros, but having a Pixel phone, the compatibility is a little bit different. So these are some really nice reviews. Can also use them for streaming, which is pretty sweet. Endurance is a sweet card. And it's a pretty insane one. But yeah, Liberator against lands is exactly the kind of card that I want. On the play, unban Ocon Labe. No thank you. Sweet hand, we'll keep this. Also happy to fetch turn 1, so if we draw a fetch, we can play a knight as a 4/4 turn 2. A lot of pretty good options here. Kind of the only card I wish was a land was probably the Questing Beast here. But pretty happy just to go for Savannah into Noble. Opponent goes to 6. Tomb. Chalice for 1? Okay. That is fine. Now we have some options. I don't mind Wasteland into Green Suns again. Because Chalice for 1 only stops Green Suns for Dried Arbor for nothing, but I can play around it with Green Suns for 2. Liberator could be sweet as well. Getting down the Knight is pretty nice as well. Maybe that's just the play. Because what does Ancient Tomb Chalice mean? I mean, if they're Eldrazi, it's kind of annoying. I think we waste into Green Suns for Hierarch. I think the only thing that I'll change here is Green Suns for Bird, in case they're like the Eldrazi deck playing the black version. Blue. Okay. Interesting. So now I probably just want 2 Green Suns for Collector Oof. Unless we draw like Cradle. Cradle would be sweet. Retrofitter. I think Oof here is probably where I want to be, and then hold up Endurance. We did see an Urza hit the bin. So this might just be the old school kind of mono blue prison. Okay, well that's what Oof can do, which is nice. Alright, on the draw against this deck, I think the Avens can come out. Ramanap is interesting. I'm going to drop down on a library. The Retrofitter, the Shadow Spear I like just to get through some of their tokens. Caracas is still pretty good. I definitely want the Deafening Silences, the Force of Vigors, and probably the traps on the draw. I don't mind. What is thinking on Aven versus 4th Knight and 4th Endurance? I really wanted a card that was quite good against like a variety of decks that also taxed. So like Doomsday, Elves, Death and Taxes, Saga decks. Having the fly is really nice. I also wanted to have more 3-drops in the deck, so like the 3 Endurance, the 2 Avens. So I just played the 3 Knights and then Elvish Reclaimer as like my 4th way to tutor lands, which is cool. I was going to play the full 4 Endurance, but I just couldn't really find space because I wanted to have so many different, like a variety of targets. And for the matchups where Knight's good, I feel like I'm not looking for the 4th always, and even like a non turn 2 Knight is still pretty good. But yeah, I just wanted to see how Aven went. I'm going to bring in these Mindbreak traps. We do know about Chalice, which is a little bit annoying. I could see Reclaimer going, seeing that we don't have Bog. Potentially a land, seeing we're playing a kind of a lower game. I think Beast can actually come out. Cradle's pretty strong, especially in the opener. It could just be a Saga here. I guess Soul Guide's actually pretty nice as just a way to interact with their graveyard. But it might just be a Saga. Fetches are probably less relevant as well. That's 61. 1 Knight. I like this. I think this is okay. Kind of want to see that that Mindbreak trap in our opener. Just a little bit too fair here. Really want like Mindbreak or Deafening Silence, and just hope they have a pretty slow hand. Yeah, I could consider Mum coming out. The only card that Mum really keeps the deck in check against is the 2-mana instant that exiles a creature and gives you a 4/4, which hits Collector Oof. Interesting. But it's not really doing anything other than Force, which could not be good enough. I don't really want to go to 4. I think we just keep this and hold up like Noble into turn 2 Oof. Something like these 4. But then it's a case, we get to go to 5. I guess if they chalice for 1 us, maybe there's a world where we keep second Wasteland. No, I think we just drop that and the plains. Then we don't have access to white if they turn on chalice. Ah! I guess chalice we don't really care about because we can go turn 1. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna play into chalice, which has the highest upside. So they have a lot of mana. I think we just go for Noble here. See like Ancient Tomb here for the Saga, or if they have like land into Petal. Maybe there's a world where like turn 1 Wasteland's better. Wow. I'm gonna say that's tilt, and maybe they just didn't have anything. Maybe they didn't have another land. But then surely they have a 2-drop. Well, we take those, I guess. Rough. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be back in a second. But yeah, I think cutting Mum there is probably correct. At least some amount of Mum. Because yeah, that blue instant is really good at hitting some of our bears. Alright. Interesting hand. We'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. They are Tycho albums. Yes. Yes. Death and Cat Mix. Tycho is probably my favorite artist. Big fan. Watery Grave. Okay. Probably pretty happy just to Wasteland here. The downside of playing Forest here is we can't like play Mum and Wasteland if we draw a Mum. Hey, thanks, man. Yes, please. Oh, wait, is it KEM? Yes. I think I know the one. KEXP? Is it KEXP? Yeah, to chip away or not chip away is always a big question, especially after they already took a Green Suns. I wonder if they have Murktide. Oof. That's not too bad. It's pretty hard for my opponent to deal with if we do keep up protection. Now that we have the Mum, I'm more inclined to play the, or at least chip away. Especially if they have Murktide. I've seen Murktide in some of these lists, which is pretty scary. Trop. Ponder, okay. Interesting they pondered holding up black. I guess they might want to be looking to like Fatal Push. Maybe cast a Death Shadow. They chose to shuffle, which is fantastic for us, let's be honest. Hey DJ, good morning to you as well. Wow, double Street Wraith. They got a 4. They find one. Okay, game on. Thalia is pretty nice here. I think we play Thalia around days. And then probably just pass. Could attack him down to 3, but I think this is okay. Plaguage near main deck would be pretty brutal. Float white. Interesting they're doing this now because I have full information about blocking. If they pondered post, I might be a little bit not willing to block and give pro. But now they can't even attack, which is great for us. Ooh. Reclaim is now pretty good. I think I'm happy to attack with the Reclaimer here with pro. And then they know about the Dryad Arbor, so I might as well play that. Because it is just one more creature that is lethal. I guess Plague Engineer is the big out here because it takes care of Thalia and Mum, and then they have 2 blockers, or 2 really good blockers. Interesting. Well, now I'm pretty happy just to attack with everything. Like, they can have 1 removal spell and 1 blocker. Yeah, nice. Woof. Woof. Lucky. I like the choke. I like probably 1 choke on the draw. And I like the parts. The oof can come out. Mind Sensors are interesting. If they're on the Murktide plan, I really want as many of these as I can. Especially if they're also on Delver. Karakas is interesting, but I can probably drop it. I like taking out Questing Beast. Not really where I want to be. Ramanap's good, Endurance is fine, Knight's fine. Liberator I could probably drop as well. I don't think that'd have any artifacts or enchantments I really care about other than Saga, but we have Wasteland, so... I think this is okay. Having those 2 extra like sword effects in Path is really strong. Soul Guide's definitely interesting. They could be playing Reanimate. And also if they're on Murktide, maybe getting a hit in. Saga's doing okay. We haven't seen too much of it in this league, but I think it would be pretty good. I don't think Silence is where I want to be, because they're not so much in creating like a storm effect if they're non-creature spells, or they're really just going like maybe cantrip into threat. I'm going to see how this 60 goes. Plague Engineer is probably the big card that I'm a little bit worried about. And I'm not going to keep a 1-lander. I'll keep this. Probably just put back a Forest because you have the Misty. Why does Maverick not play Yorion like D&T? I think a big reason is that we don't have the ETB effects that really give it that extra oof. Avon's mainly there for Doomsday, for Elves, for D&T. And then just like a nice like side bit is Fetches and Saga. He didn't have a term on play, which is interesting. Knight of Autumn is probably the main ETB. You could play like Skyclave, but then it would be a case of why aren't you playing Death and Taxes Yorion instead? Yorion also really nice with Aether Vial. Breeding Pool. Okay. Maybe a Ponder? Sure. No shuffle. Ooze. I'm just going to hold up Avon here. I could also play Ooze, hold up Sword. But I like getting the flyer into play. Not too sure what my opponent thinks of this. Maybe they think we're holding up Sword around Days instead of playing a 3-drop. Grist. Okay. They mill Overgrown Tomb. Okay. Don't really care about the Avon, which is nice. Birds. Grist is a little bit worrying. I don't really want to trade a swords for the insect token, but at the same time, I don't want the insect token trading with one of my creatures. I guess attacking with the Dried Arbor gives more food for the ooze, which is nice. Cool. I don't think I need to actually eat anything here, so I'm going to play the bird. Hey, Mr. Lee, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Really sad to hear about the Card Kingdom stream. I didn't realize that was the last stream for the weeklies. I thought it was just the last stream for the year. But like the quality of that stream is so good that it's obviously unfortunate to see as a player, but as a business I can understand their move, which is a tough one. Decay. All right. I think best draw is like Knight and then Sword the token so they can't trade it with the Grist. Another Sword. Maybe there's a world where Questing Beast should be back in the deck. Hit a Brainstorm. I haven't tried Vintage Cube, but I probably should. Probably wouldn't mind like a Silver Library here. Wasteland. Doesn't do a whole lot. I swear we saw a Saga target before, so I am going to hold the Wasteland for now. It looks like they're just playing like Bug midrange, and then Grist is probably just a really nice kind of sideboard card for the grindy matchups. Plague's okay. I mean, if they name bird, that doesn't really matter. This is the only bird. I'm gonna say they name human. Oh, they do name bird. Okay. Well, then I don't need to use the sword here. What's the ulti? Getting pretty close. Okay, that's actually quite a nice draw. There's a world where I keep the Wasteland to play around days on swords here if they play a creature out. But I really want to try to see if they're playing Murktide before we concede. Don't want to use a sword on one of these just yet. Okay. Saga's kind of nice. We did get rid of that Wasteland as well. I am happy to swords this, because I do want to keep them off like hardcast force, and also just to slow that clock down a little bit. Yeah, Grist's doing a lot of work here. Thalia does not tax Grist, because on the stack, Grist is a creature spell, which is pretty cool. Especially a good thing to know if you're playing a deck with Thalia and Grist. I think I just take this and then try to get to a world where like getting like Saga into Shadow Spear is good enough. Did they just get 2 or not attack with 1? Oh, did they mill? Oh, they milled a Grist? Classic. Okay. They're playing Sudden Edict. Interesting. So here... Just want to make a dude. Retro's pretty interesting as well, but I think that doesn't do it. Yeah. Kind of have to go for Spear here. And then I don't even think we can attack. Oh, we kind of have to attack. But I assume they have like an Abrupt Decay here. Yeah, I was really just trying to draw this out to see if they're playing Murktide, but I don't think they are. They have a fair few. So let's bring back in the Questing Beast. Let's drop the Avens for this. I'm going to bring in the extra Choke. And that is probably it. Actually, Paradox is pretty interesting as well for this matchup, where it's going pretty grindy. I could see a world where we play Paradox on the play. Maybe don't care about Choke as much. And maybe take down on Thalia, seeing we know about Plague Engineer. Yeah, I think Paradox on the players is A-okay. I don't mind this hand, even though it just runs into Plague Engineer. It's got a pretty nice curve, so... Pretty happy just to go for basics early on as well. This song is Iron Golem by Harris Heller. Opponent kept 7. I find for Maverick, at least these days for me, keeping the Monarch is pretty tough. So Court of Grace hasn't been a card that I've really considered too much recently. And I do like that Paradox doesn't get hit by cards like... That's actually a really nice draw. And that Fatal Push probably means they don't have a Plague Engineer in hand. Paradox though, not getting hit at least easily by Prismatic Ending is pretty nice as well. Tomb's fine. Another push. Alright. At least they can't daze this Thalia, which is pretty nice. But a Goyf here would be pretty strong. can't break it up with Endurance, unfortunately. Yeah, because we both have lands. So I think it's just a case of passing with Endurance open. I probably don't mind seeing if we can grab this Endurance right now, because it can only play an instant. Yeah, they are playing Death Shadow, so it looks like a bug shadow list, which is interesting. You're gonna daze and float? Okay. Now the Goyf is pretty strong. But Knight is also quite good. Big question here is do they have like a Ponder? Because making them 4/5s is pretty strong. I don't think we have any great blocks this turn. Wasteland. Yep. Come on, removal spell. Getting rid of this Grist would be fantastic. Green Suns. So we can Green Suns for 2 here. Which isn't too bad. We could go and get Scavenging Ooze. I think Ooze is just the best play here. They could take us off a green source, which is tough, but if the Ooze can start chomping away, I'd be pretty happy. No great blocks. Plague's pretty good. I think here the Wasteland just takes care of Wasteland. But it's, yeah, it's brutal because I got to attack into the Grist to make them block with something. Or else I just trade the insect with the Screws anyway. Yeah. So I could try to shrink the Goyf or just eat creatures. And I think it's better just to eat creatures. Because the Grist is going to be obviously doing some work in that regard as well. The question is, do I want to play Thalia and then Wasteland the Wasteland so they can't Wasteland Caracas? Is that better than eating something here? I think that is. Yeah, like a Bug Shadow deck. Which is pretty strong. Pretty strong right now. They hit a decay. This is game 3, yeah. We took game 1 and then they took game 2. Could block bounce, but I think I'm okay to take 1 hit and then maybe think about that next turn. But I kind of want to draw into like a bigger creature. No shuffle. Scary. That is a Dryad Arbor. That's actually pretty nice because now I can return Thalia and replay her. And they can't use Grist to trade. Which I probably wouldn't mind anyway. They hit Grist. I don't think we have 1 card to get back from that, so unfortunately we go down. Grist really solid in both those matchups, so you can definitely see where, you know, missing out on Prismatic Ending in a 3rd color or Decay or Trophy is pretty huge. Or even just not being able to keep them off creatures. Tough. Maybe the 2nd library was better than something else, especially on the play where we have a little bit more, hopefully, control over the matchup. I guess Mirran Crusader would have been pretty sweet in that matchup. Kind of like a true name. Oof. It's been nice being on green-white, but there have been a few matches now where I've really missed that extra one, that extra color. Up against Connecticut. Pretty happy to keep this. All the mana in the world, something for control or combo, something for the FedEx. Hey 94, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. Arid Mesa Pass is very interesting. Just gonna get a basic here. Arid Mesa. Could be a control deck. Yeah, okay. Expressive iteration, sure. Interesting how I want to play the next turn, because I could Thalia and Hierarch. I don't want to play the Knight just yet, as it could be bolted. I could also play Wasteland and Thalia, but I think I would take my opponent off red. They hit Mentor, okay. Well then. I definitely want to take my opponent off the white. I'm going to play the land first, just in case they're playing Daze. Play Thalia out. That sticks. Nice. That's also a 4th land in the bin, or at least a 2nd land in the bin to make the Knight a 4/4, which is pretty awesome. They're not going to play around Caracas. Nice. Pretty happy to attack first. And then play the Knight out. I do miss Green White Depths. I think Depths is a stronger deck. I'm going to keep this fetch land for now. I'm just going to play the Knight out as a 4/4. I don't think we get pinged by anything by that. But I do like the Saga versions of Depths. Now that I've played it. They didn't counter. Wow. So they get to play Mentor here. Oh, they don't have a 3rd land? That feels really good. We could Green Suns for Scrib Ranger. And then Knight twice. Mentor's in exile. There we go. Where it belongs. Yeah, let's go for... It's kind of overkill, but I like to see if this line works. And at least if they have a force, then they can't... Yeah, that's fine. They're playing back to basics. Interesting. I think attacking for 3 here is fine, and then just wastelanding my opponent. Because they've already missed 1 land drop. I think all roads here lead to the same sort of kind of work. Yeah, interesting start for back to basics. Don't believe we have to hold up endurance. Maybe there's a world. No, we're like land Murktide. Yeah, Jeskai Mentor, which is going to be an interesting matchup. Not really where I want the Avens. Oof. I don't mind the Saga package. I do like the chokes, and I do like 1 extra path for the Mental Plan, because Mental Plan is just so good against us. The Paradox zones are also interesting. I don't mind getting more zones. Probably going out on Liberator. Teeg's pretty strong. I do like Teeg over Collect Oof. Liberator is probably our only out to back to basics, if that is something they're going to do post-board. I don't mind going down on Creatures and Cradle. Reclaim is also pretty interesting, but Reclaimer into Saga is pretty nice. Yeah, it is quite strong. I'm going to go down on just the 2 1-mana dorks. Would love a hand with just like 3 lands. Thalia. This is 2 lands, but not the lands that I really want. This is actually a nice hand against the Mentor start, but I don't want to rely on Arbor as my green source. This is a nice hand. I'll keep this and bottom this Shadow Spear. The library to get us back up into card parity is pretty nice, or hopefully above it. I also have 2 draw steps to find fetches to just go for basics early on. Chose to not shuffle. Another library isn't the worst, in case the first one either gets countered or hit by Prismatic Ending. Because of the Caracas, I'm going to go turn 2 Library into turn 3 Thalia. No shuffle again. Wasteland. I'm probably happier to throw the Wasteland into a back to basics than one of these lands. The downside of playing the forest there is that we can't go turn 3 Thalia into Caracas. But at least if they back to basics here, we get to drop a lot into finding the planes. They have a where? Okay. Iteration? Cool. Exile ending. Shadow Spear. Okay. They haven't played a removal spell yet. But I think I like Thalia here over Library. It's close though. They have a few outs to Library still. Could play Shadow Spear and Thalia. Don't think that's really doing a whole lot, but I think the sooner we get Library online, the better. Something like a Teferi bounce library is a little bit annoying. But then we have library into Thalia, which isn't too bad. Wear Tear. Okay. Well, at least that's a Wear Tear not going at the Paradox. Liberator. I guess now we get to 2 spell, which is kind of nice. Or Thalia hold up Caracas. I kind of want them to take care of the Thalia, so if we draw a land, we can just slam outcome. So actually, I'm just going to go for Liberator here. This also puts it on the field where it can deal with a back to basics. Swords, sure. Okay. Well, that's why we wanted to play the, or tap out there. Okay. Bounce, sure. Do we get to zone? Ah, so close. I don't think we wasteland here just because zone's so important for us. The mana for us is just so much better. Also, drawing the sword for Mentor is pretty nice. Ah, we can't. Of course. Yes, this is gonna happen. I always just forget that the tick up isn't the cast stuff at sorcery. That's just that's just it. All right, they're down to 2 cards. Green Suns. All right. Well, first we want to deal with this Mentor. And then Green Suns is interesting. I don't want to get Gaddock Teeg that turns off the zone. I don't mind getting Scavenging Ooze as just a... I could also go for a creature here to try to get some mana going for Paradox Zone. But I think just drawing into a land is really nice. So I think I actually will just go for Scoos here. It's Disruption, which is nice. And then we might as well 6 seeing the Teferi's on the board. Swords is okay. Opponent has 2 cards left. Swords. We want to use the Caracas here. Just to keep the board off. There is a world where I'm just throwing that away and I should have kept it for an actual creature. If Thalia can get like a hardcast force here, that'd be kind of cool. Zone will give us a creature, which is nice. Snap into Wear Tear is also a nice way to deal with the zone. Zone is a lot of mana, but these games do go long. Chose to shuffle. Pretty happy just to Caracas the Thalia here so they don't draw the card from the Teferi. Also good for us because it means if we draw a land we can play the Paradox out. Oof, it's good land as well. Force. That's where the zone's really good as well. Doesn't really care about the prismatic ending. Most decks don't have access to 5 colors. Back to basics here would be pretty good. Jace is also pretty strong. Yeah, blue-white's always going to have a pretty strong game against a creature-based deck like Maverick. It's definitely the big reason why it kind of just faded away after Terminus was printed. Endurance. Okay. Didn't bring in Soul Guide. It's probably okay. Another Wear Tear, perhaps? Snapcaster Wear Tear? Pyroclasm. Okay. Should have tapped the other way to hold up double green for endurance, but I guess I have Teferi, so... Retrofitter here is actually pretty good. Pretty happy here to take them off their second white as well. They do have prismatic endings left in the deck, so they do have answers to retro, but definitely a good card in this matchup. QB would be pretty good for the top. I guess Wasteland there takes us off Green Suns for Questing Beast. Sure. I probably don't mind actually just hitting out cells with endurance. I don't really want to put all their good cards back into the deck. I'd rather get like our libraries back after we fetch all Green Suns. They came out snappy, which is pretty good. I think playing this game out is really just to take some time off them, because we're currently up 4 minutes, which is huge. So if we could get them down to 10, I'd be pretty happy. And just see more cards for what they're actually playing. Mentor's going to go close the game out though pretty fast. What do I want? Probably Questing Beast. Scrib is free. Ish. Probably should have brought back the forest if I was really caring about back to basics, but that's okay. This could potentially just be lethal this turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16. 5 spells. Sure. We don't have a clear way to get rid of multiple tokens either in green-white. That's where Plague Engineer can be pretty good. I wouldn't mind running like End the Hostilities in like a red version as a sideboard card. Seeing all the basics as well, I could probably trim on a Wasteland. Probably bring in the Soul Guide Lantern. Definitely getting closer here to the 10 minutes, which is really nice. Gives us a good 7 minutes of advantage for game 3, which means I really want to keep them off the Mentor plan, so there is a world where I bring in the extra path just to make sure I see it. A little bit too late. Planeswalkers are just maybe like Skyclave Apparition. Maybe there's like a green-white build with like Once Upon a Times and Skyclave, which would be pretty good. TikTok goes the clock. Alright. I assume that it's go straight to attack phase and just attack. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so now it's really just trying to like grind it out. And we have a good 2 minutes for sideboarding, so what do I want to do? I really want to keep him off Monk, so I will bring in the extra path. I'm going to go down on a Wasteland. I don't mind the Soul Guide Lantern. At worst, it just replaces itself. And like, if they have like one Wear Tear in the bin, we can like play this preemptively and then maybe hit a, you know, something to stop them from taking out the Paradox Zone. I think because of like Pyroclasm, and I assume they may be playing Supreme Verdict, I was thinking about, yeah, just dropping this down to 1 and 1, which I still think is fine. I don't think Deafening Silence does enough, unfortunately. I think it's a bit of a trap to play it. Yeah, the Wear Tears are obviously really nice. So I feel like I need to just like like just build out the board with as many as I can to stop them from being hit by like one wear and tear being the big difference. But wear tear is pretty insane. Mind Sense is definitely interesting. We're up to 61, so there is a world where I cut here. Oversaturate the board with targets. There we go. It could just be a Knight, to be fair. Knight's very easy for them to deal with, and having 2 is probably okay. I think I like this. It's a 1-lander, which I'm definitely not a big fan of. Okay, I'll keep this and probably bottom the second Thalia. Yeah, cutting lands and also cutting the mana dorks as well. I'd probably just keep this and bottom second Thalia. There is a world where I don't need the endurance. Yeah, I don't mind this. If we draw into like a third Thalia, it's pretty bad. I'll start with Windswept Pass. Opponent kept 7. If I go for 2 basics early on, I have to draw another land to be able to hardcast the endurance. I kind of want to draw another 2-drop so I can play Thalia turn 3 with Karakas open. No shuffle. Okay. I'm probably pretty happy with just playing out Liberator here. So let's get planes. I kind of want to get Savannah Forest, to be fair. Means I can hold up endurance next turn. Yeah, the only reason I like the Excavator is that it just allows us to make our land drops. Which means I probably can just go for basics here. So planes off this. And then Forest. And then Liberator. And then next turn, Thalia, Karakas up. The following turn, Ramanap, play a land from the graveyard. That's fine. Haven't really hit either too much yet. So I don't have too much to say, but I do like that Saga gives the deck like a second way to kind of attack different decks. Obviously getting like Retrofitted Foundry against a deck like this isn't too bad. They do have some pretty good answers in Paradox. Interesting. Mentor's really scary here. Yeah, maybe I should have played the Thalia first. Especially against a deck where I don't have to worry about days. I don't mind Ramanap into Dried Arbor. Could also hold up Endurance for like a Snapcaster line. Or just play Endurance right now. Endurance now means I can't snap swords. Really need to start finding some removal. Not shuffle's always pretty scary. Yeah. Maybe keeping second Thalia was better. As like a turn 2 play, then turn 3 is Krakus Thalia. Or Thalia, then Krakus. No shuff. Pretty happy here just to get Dryad Arbor. Just to buy some time. I think if they had swords, they would have swords pre-combat, so that we didn't have the chance to block. But even a sword now would be a bit too late. I will attack Teferi and then cast Endurance second main. Because if the... yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Okay. Yeah, sadly just a case of the Mentors going wide. And definitely a big disadvantage of Maverick is, as a green-white deck, not being able to answer go-wide strategies. Definitely a few misplays there as well, which don't help. Like Jace bounce here. Yeah, it didn't do too well with the draw steps, but I'm playing Green White Maverick. I can't definitely complain about that. That's going to be it. Tough. Savaged. But the deck felt okay. Obviously more graveyard hate is probably where I want to be. So maybe something like Surgical in the sideboard. Not a big fan of Leyline in the green-white versions, but I could consider Bog as well with the Reclaimer. Obviously one league doesn't really say much, but yeah, going down to Jeskai Mentor, Dredge, and Bug Shadow, and getting up against 8 cast, I'm gonna say, and something else. I could definitely see the 4th Endurance coming in. I did want to fit it somewhere, and maybe it's a case of just taking out the Avens and going a bit more harder on the Green Suns package. Maybe adding in another Mana Dork so we can do better there. But yeah, definitely a few things to work on. But it seemed pretty cool as a kind of draft 75. The sagas we didn't see too much. Perhaps there's like a world where we play a third saga. And then maybe something else in there. But yeah, even on paper when looking at the metagame seemed pretty good. And I wanted it in game 1 against the decks where it is really good. Especially on the play, like Doomsday, Elves, Death and Taxes. Some of the saga decks. But it was not to be. It was not to be. But that's going to be me. A huge thank you to you guys for coming and watching. I'm going to see who else is streaming and send you over there. I did a deck tech before where I did go over yeah, some of my choices, which is on YouTube tonight. So you can find it here. But until then, I'm going to read, and enjoy my day. And I hope you guys do too. So we'll see you next time. Enjoy. And yeah, hopefully next time we come back with a bit more